deepen our thoughts about purpose. It may very well be that many people here have learned and studied that there are four causes in general of anything happening. If anything takes place, anything happening in the world, there are four causes. Where does that concept of four causes derive from? Where does it come from? So many people will say that it's a concept that derives from Aristotle or from Greek philosophy. We know that at the end of this month, we've just entered the month of Kislev, and the end of this month we have a holiday, one of the most important Jewish holidays, which is Hanukkah, and it commemorates the war on the defeat of Hellenism, that we had a battle with Hellenism, and the battle with Hellenism was not just a physical battle. It was an idealistic battle that the Jewish people won at that time, and it was actually a philosophical battle. Nonetheless, the Torah says that all of the beauty of Hellenism has to be extracted, taken out of Greece, and brought back into the context of sanctity, actually to appear within the temple. You probably all remember the story of Noah. Noah had three sons, Shem and Ham and Yafet. And Hellenism and what we now would call all the Western civilization, all Western culture, from Hellenism came Roman culture, and the culture that we presently live in is still that same Western tradition. All of it derives from the son of Noah, whose name is Yefet. The Jewish people, Semitic people, we derive from the son of Noah, whose name is Shem. Because of a certain story that maybe we all remember, Noah said that God will give beauty to Yefet, but that beauty that he gives to Yefet shall ultimately dwell in the tents of Shem. And that means that there are sparks of truth and holiness and actually of beauty, because one of the most important things about Hellenism is the aesthetic sense of Hellenism. And that beauty has to be incorporated, extracted from that Hellenism. The ultimate meaning of this holiday of Hanukkah is not just to defeat philosophically, as in a debate, but to be able to extract what is called actually redeem, liberate sparks of holiness from that tradition and bring it back into the context of Judaism or the Semitic faith in one God. Hellenism did not believe in one God, as we know. Maimonides, perhaps the greatest Jewish philosopher of all times, took a lot of his thought from Aristotle. But any point that he took from Aristotle, he didn't just take it blindly. Every thought and concept he polished. As you take a precious stone and you polish it to make it shine even stronger and brighter. And very often he also disagreed with Aristotle. He didn't agree on every point. And when he disagreed with him, he explained very well. He has his whole, it's called the Guide to the Perplexed, his basic, most important philosophical text in Judaism of Maimonides. And some things he agrees with, and some things, even that which he agrees with, he interprets it in a way which fits perfectly into the mindset, we'll call it, of faith in one, absolutely one God, which is a different mindset from that of Aristotle. And when he disagrees, he disagrees. One concept that he in general agrees upon, but there are certain points that he disagrees or he corrects, is the concept of four causes, one of the most important concepts from Aristotle. If something is true, it means that Aristotle did not invent it. It's something which was long before. All medieval philosophers, whether Jewish or not Jewish, all accepted this concept of the four causes. What are the four causes? The reason that we're now doing this, we're talking about this right now, is first of all, in order to begin the festival, the holiday of Hanukkah, which is defeating the Hellenism, the paganistic, Hellenism is paganistic, is defeating the paganistic Hellenism by extracting those points of beauty, the aesthetic points, and also the truth in the philosophy, whatever points of truth there are, and bringing it back into the context of the Torah. One of the greatest sages of recent history means the last 200-300 years. You've probably also heard his name is the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon takes this concept of four causes and actually calls it the secret of the four letters of God's essential name, the Tetragrammaton that we mentioned a moment before. So we see how tremendously potent this concept of four causes is. Now let's go through it. What are the four causes? The terms are the material cause, the formal cause, the efficient cause, and the final cause. Once more, everything that happens, there are four causes, means four reasons or four things that act why this thing is happening or happened. The first cause is the material cause, which means the matter behind the change or the movement that produced this effect. Everything has to have matter. We know from Einstein, already 100 years, that matter and energy are equivalent to one another. So there must be energy, just pure energy or matter. And actually, when we imagine matter, we can only imagine matter in the context of form, that the matter possesses some form. But theoretically, there is what's called formless matter, matter without form whatsoever. Primordial matter, primordial essence. The matter behind any change is called the material cause. But then there is a design. The things have a design to them. The design is called the formal cause. The word formal here means, or comes from the word form. That which gives the matter a definite form to it. The third cause is called the efficient cause, or the agent. There is someone or something who is the mover or the changer that produces a certain effect. So it's either called the efficient cause or the agent of the cause. But the last cause is called the final cause. The final cause is the purpose. So everything that we said is in order to reach what's called the final cause. The purpose is why, the essential why. Why did this thing happen? Is there some reason why it happened? Is it for something? When these four causes are taught in school, so usually the example that is given in order to demonstrate and to understand these four causes is a table. I have here a table in front of me. So the table has to have four causes behind it. Four causes that result in this table that I experience right here before me. If the table is made out of wood, this table is probably not made out of wood. But in the past, most tables were made out of wood. If the table is made out of wood, then the wood is the material cause. It's the matter behind the table. If someone drew a design of what he wants the table to look like, so that theoretical design is the formal cause of the table. Certainly there must be a carpenter who made the table. That carpenter who made the table is the efficient cause or the agent of the table. Why do you need a table in the first place? If the reason that you made a table is because you want to dine, to eat, or to be able to invite guests and to dine on a table, that is the final cause of the table, dining on the table. Once more, this is the way the four causes are usually taught in school. The most important one, even Aristotle himself said that the most important one is the final cause, the ultimate why. Just the Rambam, Maimonides, here corrects him, we'll say. But he disagrees because the way that Aristotle explains the final cause is only an immediate final cause, like dining, but not an ultimate and absolute final cause. An absolute final cause can only be if you believe that God has an absolute desire why this object should exist and should be created, why a change or a change and movement are identical in philosophy, why this movement or change should have taken place. So there's an immediate cause, immediate final cause, but there's an ultimate final cause. And Aristotle did not know at all of the ultimate final cause. Whoever remembers nowadays in school when the people study chemistry, and so we study the periodic table, and there are many elements. Just until recently there were 92 elements in nature, that exist in nature. Now most scientists speak of more than the 92 elements. But we probably all remember that according to the ancients, and even nowadays, the concept of four elements still exists. Four elements can be four states of matter. What are the four elements? It's fire, air, water, and earth. So fire can be a state of combustion. Air is gas, a gaseous state of being. Water is liquid. Earth is solid. So even today, and there are other ways to explain today in science what these four elements mean. But four elements is taught by the ancients, once more from the Greeks and from almost every ancient tradition, and appear in the Torah, appear in all works of philosophy. Is there any relationship between the four elements and the four causes? Or according to Kabbalah, there must be a relationship, because any two sets, two models that the only thing which unites them or relates them is the fact that they have the same number behind them, must have some inner parallel between them. So without going into length, the material cause actually corresponds to the element of water. Water is the ideal matter without form, or source of energy without form. Fire gives form. Spirit or air is the efficient or the agent that makes things happen or move. But the final end cause is actually earth. It's the lowest state of reality. The verse in Ecclesiastes says that everything is from the word for earth that's used in the Torah is actually dust, afar. It says that everything began from dust and everything returns to dust. When Adam, the first man, was created, it says he was created from the dust, from the earth. And God says to him, after the sin, it was decreed upon him that he should die. It says, because dust you are, and to the dust you will return. There's something about dust of the earth that this is the final cause, the final rationale, the final reason. About almost 500 years ago, the time of the Renaissance, the time of the Inquisition here in Spain, there was a philosopher in England called Francis Bacon, his name. Probably many people have heard of him. And he is considered to be the father of modern science, of the philosophy of modern science, or what's called empirical skepticism. And he did not believe in these four causes of Aristotle. He was the first to disagree. And he said there are only two causes. He denied two of the four causes and accepted two of the four causes. And this is what modern science is based upon. Until very, very recently, that we're going back to the thoughts or philosophy of old. He said there's only the material cause and the efficient cause. There's only matter, or nowadays, as we said before, now we know that matter and energy are equivalent. There's only matter, and there's an agent that works or makes the matter move. But there's no design. Nature does not have a design, and there's no purpose. So this is now actually the essence of our first talk here. Is there purpose? Is there not purpose? In Eastern religion, there's no purpose to creation. Comes modern science, beginning from Bacon. It was by the same time as the Inquisition here, the beginning of the Renaissance. And he says also there's no purpose. And there's no purpose, there's no design. According to the way that the Vilna Gaon that we said before has the four causes correspond to the four letters of God's essential name, the Tetragrammaton. The formless matter is the first letter, which actually corresponds to the first rationale that we spoke of before. The one of God wanting to have a dwelling place below. The second cause was form, or the design behind everything that happens in creation. There's a design. What does design mean? There's a plan. There's an outline before things happen. That corresponds to the second letter, which is there are two Heys, the letter Hey in Hebrew, whoever knows Hebrew. The letter Hey is a feminine letter. In God's four-letter name, the first letter and the third letter are male, and the second and fourth, which are actually the same letter, they are female. So actually what Bacon did, which is at the beginning of the scientific revolution, is he took out the two female causes, which are design and end and purpose. So the two male causes are matter and agent. And the two female causes are design and purpose. How do these two, we know that there's a movement, changes movement. There's a movement now for already decades, many decades, of the rise of the feminine, of feminism, which is a very, very positive, and actually it's a messianic movement, as taught throughout Kabbalah. In the context of what we're now speaking of, that means bringing back these two causes, why things happen, that there's design. Who gives design? In Kabbalah, the design is the function of the mother. The matter comes from the father. The father is the first letter of God's name. The mother is the second letter. The matter comes from the father. The design comes from the mother. The agent is called the son of the parents, and the end is the daughter. The four letters of God's name are called Father, Mother, Son, and Daughter. So once more, Bacon took away the mother and the daughter, just as the father and the son. He was a stout Christian, this person. He was a scientist. What is now the trend in modern culture and modern science? First of all, if we identify the two that remained as male, the two that he took out as female, so as we said now, the trend is the rise and the bringing back into the proper context the female figure, position. One of the more recent theories of science is evolution. It's already not new. It's already almost 200 years ago, a little bit less. Evolution brought back, in a certain sense, what Maimonides called immediate purpose, which is called adaptation. That species change because they have to adapt themselves to their environment in what's called an ecosystem, an ecological system. Meaning that the purpose motivates the change. So in modern scientific texts and philosophic texts, it's taught that actually evolution, in a certain way, is bringing back the final cause of Aristotle into the context of science. What about design? So we probably have all heard the concept of intelligent design. More and more, science is being actually confronted, because scientists do not like, initially, to believe in intelligent design. But there's so many facts, so many amazing phenomena about our physical world that point at design, at what's called intelligent design. The scientists, little by little, are coming, they have to confront it. But there's no way to deny it, that there is design behind change. Once more, design is the mother principle. And the end is it's either referred to as Malchut, as once more kingdom, a concept we mentioned before, that God wants to be king, but it's also a female concept. It's called the daughter level of purpose. So with this we'll conclude our the first session today, that the whole idea is to discuss purpose, and that there is purpose. And purpose is the final cause of things happening. And Aristotle only understood the final cause in a very limited or proximate manner, an immediate or close purpose, but an ultimate, real purpose, why God creates things, and why God wants us here to be sitting right here, right now, this very moment, that he could not fathom. But that is one of the objectives of our faith and contemplation, meditation, which will now be our second talk about meditation. To meditate and understand that there is purpose, and there's ultimate purpose, and the ultimate purpose will be realized with the redemption. But the redemption is not just the redemption of the Jewish people, it's the redemption of the whole world, but all of us coming to one consensus, we'll call it a one perfect faith in one God. So with this now we'll continue.
Israel,